Hello, I'm Annabelyoga. I'm the Resilience and Results Specialist. And today I've got the enormous pleasure of introducing you to Annabel Broom. Annabel and I have only just recently met, but she is absolutely amazing. I spoke to Annabel at great length about what she does in her business, and I'm really excited about introducing Annabel to this group. And I'm looking forward to hearing what she does. So it's now over to you, Annabel. Tell us about what you do in your business as a yoga instructor.
Well, thanks, Marlena. I have been teaching yoga for 17 years, and it's interesting. Actually, I wrote a piece on LinkedIn just today talking about how in some business circles, I have to introduce myself when people say, what do you do? I say stress management, because often people go yoga. And yet all those people, they want the calm mind, they want to ease the tension in their body, they want to build resilience physically, mentally and emotionally. So they want all the benefits which yoga gives them. They just don't want yoga because they have a preconceived thing that yoga is for middle-aged women, and they are perhaps, not that. So I teach yoga. What I actually do is I'm actually passionate about helping people feel even better than they do already. So whether it's physically, mentally or emotionally. And I do this in lots of different ways. I started teaching yoga, just traditional yoga, and over the years, because I'm passionate about personal development, I've done loads of personal development on myself, attended loads of personal development trainings, and it's all woven through my teachings. I've also done mindfulness training, that's all woven through. So my yoga is called Annabel Yoga, not because I've got a big ego, but because often students would say, do you know, someone was asking me what type of yoga we do, and I didn't know, so I just told them it was Annabel Yoga. And I had enough people say that, so I went, okay, let's call it Annabel Yoga. It was called something else. I had a joint business with my husband. When I divorced him, I wanted to get rid of that name, so I had a new name, Annabel Yoga. Hurrah, we'll do that. And so I now have to tell people actively that it's yoga with personal development, because I have some yoga sessions. So my yoga, just to break it back down again, I'm based in Surrey. I teach anywhere I can get to geographically, but now with lockdown, everything's gone onto Zoom. So it's really easy to access. I have people coming in from Inverness, from Madrid, and it's fabulous. So I love it. There's no travel time. And somebody who is used to a classical yoga class might look at mine and sometimes look at it and go, yeah, that's yoga how we know it. And sometimes they look at it and go, yeah, that's my students walking out going, oh, that was a great yoga session. And another yoga teacher would be going, that's not yoga. Because from my point of view, if this helps you, whatever it is, whatever you need, that is what I want to be teaching. And so I start the classes by saying, well, what do you need? What do you come with? Because sometimes people come with a crick in their neck. You've got some yoga teachers, and I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just different. We've got different personalities, and the way I teach is I don't come with a lesson plan and regardless of what you come with, teach that lesson plan. I do it differently. I come with my ideas of this is what I'm going to teach or not, and then I'll say, how are you? What do you want? What do you need? And I was reflecting today that part of that tendency may well have arisen from, I used to teach yoga up in one of the mental health hospital wards, three mental health wards in one of the London hospitals, until we ran out of funding, unfortunately. And I honestly didn't know who I would have there, what condition they would be in. I was on the ward with the acute mental health patients, so anything from psychotic to a little bit depressed. And then on another ward, we had people with addictions, we had people with OCD. So people with OCD, I had one girl who was just germ phobic to the extent that all she would do would be to stand. So in my yoga classes, normally there's a bit of standing, there's a bit of sitting, there's a bit of lying on one side, lying on the other side, and then we do relaxation lying on our backs. And she did the whole class, Marlena, the whole class standing, even the relaxation. And so I had to just keep on coming out, we're doing this as a group, but you are doing it standing, so your variation is going to be like that. And so all my classes are like that. And so, can I give you a demo?
Go for it.
Welcome to my studio. I've got my slippers on. You'll forgive my slippers. Right, so I can have somebody who like the full yoga pose. I can have, because people often say to me, how can you do mixed ability classes? And I say, well, I can have a triathlete who's a yoga beginner, and then I've got someone with 10 years yoga experiences, but they've got stuff going on in their body. So it's not just about what you can do with your body. An advanced yoga classes, really, it's not just physical. Yoga is body and mind. And so I'm going to give you an example of how I graduate things. So you have this is an advanced yoga pose, half moon pose, and not everybody's going to be able to access that, but everybody is going to be able to access something where they lean on the wall and they lift their leg up a bit, maybe their arm is up, maybe it's not, because maybe they've got a shoulder condition. Anyone can do this. So I have people in the room doing this, anything from this to all the way over. So I like to make my yoga accessible for everybody, and unfortunately the magazine pictures make it look like you've got to be young, thin, white and trendy, and the reality is that yoga is for everybody. So I'm trained to do yoga for children, yoga for adults, yoga for special needs. So I honestly believe it doesn't matter what you've got, come and do yoga. And I sometimes feel like a snake oil salesman. Because people say, well, you've got to say what it's good for. I'm like, well, it's good for everything. And it's almost a case saying, well, what do you need? And it doesn't matter what people say, because pretty much I'll be like, yeah, yoga can help with that. But then I sound like a charlatan. And so I had a student, she'd been coming to yoga for a little while, and she was a nurse. She'd had some mental health issues of her own. And one day she said to me, Annabel, why didn't you tell me it's so good for mental health? Why didn't you tell me? Like, because I can't say everything. So I've gone off on a ramble, haven't I? But
this is amazing though, because I didn't really know that much about yoga, and I'm really looking forward to joining your class. You definitely sold it to me, Annabel. But, I now want to ask you for 3 tips for the members of this community.
Yes. Okay. So how we do one thing is how we do everything. And so what we practice on the mat and what we learn about ourselves on the mat, we can then apply in our lives everywhere. So one of the main things that I get from yoga and that I teach my students is awareness. And you don't have to be on the mat, you don't have to create extra time for it. It's just to be aware. And it can be a really simple awareness of, oh, I'm rushing, or oh, I'm late, or I'm happy, or I'm sad, or it's raining, or it doesn't matter what you're aware of, just becoming aware of something. And actually that's what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is awareness, moment to moment, of what is happening in the moment. And people think it's a big thing, but it's not. So just being mindful. Anytime you feel anxious, or just bring your awareness to what can I feel under my feet? What can I feel, am I sitting? What can I experience now? So awareness of the moment. Tip 1. Tip 2, your breath. Your breath. Some people say, I don't need to do yoga. I know how to breathe. And it's interesting they say it to me, because I never sell it on the breath. And I'm beginning to start to talk about the breath outside of the class, because so many of my students say, oh my God, the breathing is amazing. And that makes it sound like it's this really special, weird breathing. And it's not, it's just breathing. I often say to my son, it's crazy. People pay me to tell them to breathe. But the breath is very much linked to our fight, flight, freeze emotional response. And it's incredible how quickly we stop breathing. And so whenever you feel that you are particularly tense, I recommend a long sigh. When we're fed up, we sigh anyway. Oh, right. So you don't need to be a drama queen about it, but know that when we sigh, you relax the tension in your shoulders, you empty the breath out, because what happens as we're getting stressed and tense is the tension's rising physically, our breath is becoming more and more shallow, and so by taking a long sigh, we empty it all out, we drop the tension, and because it was such a long exhalation, the next inhalation has to be long, so you're starting to do a longer breathing cycle, which helps to bring you out of stress and more into relaxation and restoration. So long sighs, 2, 3, 7, probably not many more than that, almost, and yeah, they can be quiet if you're in public. So tip 1, mindfulness and awareness. Tip 2, the breath and the sigh. And tip 3 is to move your body. So many people have got pain in their bodies, even if you never do yoga, just move your body. It doesn't have to be very much. I had a lady who came to yoga, they were about to operate on her because of pain in her back. And she did one lesson. She came back the next week and, oh my God, the pain went. It went for 4 days, and then I did something silly and picked up this really heavy thing. They were about to operate on her on this pain which she'd had for so long. And in one yoga session, just from moving a bit. And so I want to leave you with some very basic exercises in case. So this, because there's loads of back pain at the moment with, with lockdown and people trying to make their kitchen table into their office and whatnot. So the thing most people talk about is back pain. I'm going to give you 3 exercises, which I know if you do them daily, it doesn't have to be very long, it'll change what's going on in your back. For most people, obviously if you've got deeper complications, then maybe it needs more. So here you go. Exercise 1. Exercise 1, you're pulling back and you're reaching forwards. So you're doing a forward bend and you're doing a back bend. And if you want to, you can do it in time you're breathing. You don't have to. Just do a few of those. Option 2, exercise 2, stretch up. So you can support yourself on the chair you're on. Stretch up. So there's a bit of stretch going here. And then soften this side. This side doesn't have to be tight for anything. And then obviously do the other side, right? Just so you're balanced. And then after you've done that, do a twist. So wherever you're sitting, maybe move forwards on your seat so you're not constrained by the backrest, but just twisting, looking over your shoulder, coming to front, twisting. And that's it. If you did that every day, your back would be so much more happier. It's a bit like giving your body an MOT. It's lubricating the joints. Anyway, if you want to know more.
I'm really over your exercises, and not only tips but practical tips as well. Thank you.
Because that's how I teach. It has to be practical. I don't teach that yoga that goes and they believed this and no. I'll tell you something, but practical. It has to be relevant to your life today.
So if we want to know more, please put your details and anything you do in the comments, and post regularly on Wednesday when we have a promo Wednesday. So I'm signed up. I want to join your class. So thank you so much, Annabel. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I'm totally amazed at your passion and enthusiasm and the energy and all the wonderful tips you have given us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.